I, Simran Kothari, Senior CTI Analyst at Fortinet, along with my colleague Jaydev Joshi, is here to present a brief presentation on Russia-Ukraine warfare, shift in cyber threat landscape. Now, Russia-Ukraine is particularly notable, the whole conflict, because of how cyber tools have been utilized in this conflict. These two countries have been at each other's throats since a very long time, since 2014, even back in 1991 when Soviet Union collapsed. Diplomatic relations between these two countries have completely been eliminated post-2021. Now, with our presentation, we aim to achieve and cover a neutral standpoint covering four landscapes: cyber espionage, hacktivist, darknet, ransomware, and we conclude this presentation while saying where do we stand now? What does the world encompass? As I mentioned earlier, Russia-Ukraine conflict is not a novel conflict. It has been ongoing since 2014, when Russia invaded Ukraine, when it sent its troops in eastern Ukraine border. Starting from elections interference to black energy malware attacks to non-PTR ransomware and again election interference back in 2018. Fast forward to 2021, reports started coming up when substantial reports of Russia's troop setting up its bases in eastern Ukraine border coming up. Post of which, most of the cyber attacks started taking place. Frozen Vista attack, a very famous phishing attack, came into picture. In 2022, we saw a sudden bump in introduction of Viper malware attacks such as Whispergate, Hermetic Viper, and exploitation of known vulnerabilities like Log4Shell. In 2023, we did see a downfall in the cyber front. However, by no means it meant that Russia-Ukraine warfare had come to a halt. Here is this slide which just represents prominent groups that were very active players during the conflict, including Russian state-sponsored groups like APT 28, 29, Terla, Fancy Bear, and so on. From the Ukraine side, we have ATW, which only emerged during the conflict. It is also widely known as Blue Hornet and Grumo. When I said the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, it did not necessarily mean it knew no geographical aspect. The conflict was happening on the field within these two countries, but the cyber impact could be felt across the world. Groups like Casablanca, which comes from Morocco, Ghostwriter, Cloud Atlas, and many such other espionage groups did participate in the conflict to show its support to either of the countries, whether to Ukraine or whether to Russia. Here are just few instances of targeted attacks by Russia. The groups which I have not mentioned earlier, like Cadet Blizzard, CERT Ukraine tracks another cluster known as UAC with a number, UAC attacks on Russia. This is a basic chart that we prepared showing Russian attacks on Ukraine entities. Now, UAC 0010, possibly linked to Gamaredon, is seen to be attacking Ukraine in most number, followed by Ember. Now, again, as we spoke for Russia, same we can see for Grumo. Grumo, the defense agency, conducted SCADA attacks on Gazprom. Another notable feature about the Ukrainian side of attacks is against the West. Now, this is the only state-sponsored group which we observe has presence across all platforms, including Telegram, Twitter, and other social media profiles. This is the only group which has openly announced that they have been asked by the state to perform certain operations on Russia. These are just few of the instances of against the West activities. Now, as I mentioned, that most of the attacks did come from either Ukraine or Russia or the other state-sponsored group. Other groups like Casablanca, Cloud Atlas, Ghostwriter also did actively participate in these attacks, whether to their own benefit, whether to their own nation's interest, or to just show their support to either of the sides. Now, Jaydev will be here to explain the hacktivist landscape.
And now let's head towards the hacktivism landscape. So hacktivism, as you all know that hacktivist activities are generally encouraged by the political or social events, right? Same goes with the Russia-Ukraine warfare. The various hacktivist groups are participating in the warfare and helping their country to conduct the various kind of cyber attacks and implications, right? Here are some media articles presenting that the hacktivist groups and all. So currently, according to the media, there are over 150 hacktivist groups which seems to be participated in the Russia-Ukraine warfare. Out of them, here are some notable groups which belongs to Ukraine and support Russia to conducting operation. Same goes with the Russia. We have a pro-Russian groups which stands and showcase their supports towards Russia and conducting their operation and targets against Ukraine entities. Next, we have various tactics used by these hacktivist groups, which includes but not limited to DDoS attacks, conducting DDoS and various websites and taken down the website for a time. Next, we have defacement attacks. We have a doxing, where confidential files and secrets of the organization is being revealed publicly by these groups. We have a exploitation of known vulnerabilities as well, along with the data leaks attacks. Now, the main thing is there are many groups, but few of them create a major impact in this Russia-Ukraine warfare, which include IT Army of Ukraine, which is a pro-Ukrainian group and specifically emerged during the war. And the other side, we have a Killnet, which is a pro-Russian group and doing their activities in the warfare. Let me go with the IT Army of Ukraine. The group specifically emerged during the late February 2022. The notable part here is the group is a volunteer group which is not led by specifically anyone, but there are a group of volunteers who participate and showcase their supports towards targeting the Russian entities. Here, as you can see in the screen, that various DDoS attacks and data leaks attacks conducted by the IT Army of Ukraine to showcase their support. On the same page, we have a Killnet, which relays their impact on the Russian side and targeting the various Ukrainian entities, which also emerged during the February 2022 as well. But this Killnet is a specific group which led by the individual goes by the name Killmilk. And they collaborated with the groups and conducting their operation as well. Here you can see the screenshots where the group conducted various DDoS attacks on the government agencies of Ukraine, as well as leaking their data on the Telegram channel. Moving on. Like the hacktivist group is not a new concept. Before the Russia-Ukraine warfare, there are some hacktivist groups who participate in the political events and all. But here, these activist groups specifically stands for either Russia or Ukraine. We have some example of this group who showcase their supports, which include a Gosek group, which previously act as a hacktivist group, but stands specifically towards Russia and doing the various campaign like Op Russia and targeting entities and show their supports towards IT Army of Ukraine and conducting the operation against Russia. Next activist is DDoS Secrets and Network Battalion 65. This both group also stands for the Ukraine and conducting their operation against the Russia. Same goes with the Russian group. Free Civilian is a hacktivist group, but the targeting various Ukrainian entities and leaking their data to the publicly and showcase their supports towards the Russia. Moving forward, now the main question arises that how this group, hacktivist group, got the financial support. Is there any state sponsor who provide them financial support, or how they can manage to fund their operation? So based on our research, we came to know that there are various tactics used by this group to earn money, which including the Telegram channels where the group specifically asking for financial aid and running the campaign and ask more volunteer to join the group and provide their support and donation to the group to run the specific operation. For this, this is a Bitcoin wallet address of Killnet, where they able to make fund of this operation, which is 22,000, around 22,500 USD. So another tactics is DDoS and botnet services, where the group specifically provided DDoS as a service, in which the group who have capabilities and infrastructure to conduct various kind of DDoS attacks, providing services to other groups to conduct the more attacks, and they demanding money in exchange to conduct the DDoS operation. So this is the another way how they can make money by providing DDoS services. Another interesting example is that darknet marketplace. Like during the warfare, the Killnet, which I mentioned, a pro-Russian group, specifically created a darknet marketplace, goes by the name Infinity, where the group and their associate specifically selling or advertising Ukrainian companies' data on this forum and making money out of them. So these are the basic possible ways how the how the hacktivist group specifically earn and make money to fund their operation and running the smooth operation against the specific entities. Now, hacktivists in this specific warfare is not specific run by a specific individual. Like you have a team to conduct their operation, you have support from the back end to conduct this kind of specific operation. In the warfare, we have seen that hacktivist groups are collaborating with each other to targeting the entities. If I'm giving you the example of Russian groups, on the screen you can see the various users, say Phoenix, Zaira, various are the groups who collaborated with the Killnet to perform their specific attacks on the various entities. On the Telegram channel, they also announced that we are show our supports and collaborating with the Killnet and the other pro-Russian groups to conduct the operation for more disruption and destructive attacks. Same goes with the collaboration, but now the Revil ransomware, which are not part of hacktivism, but they also shown their supports in the collaboration and collaborate with another hacktivist group to conduct the various operation. If I can giving you the example, like this is not only based for Russia or Ukraine. Now the hacktivist and attacks are globally. Attacks are the groups are not only with the Ukraine or Russia. They are start targeting NATO members, European members, and the US member. Basically, who providing a support to Ukraine, the activist group are starting the attacks. So here the example of Revil ransomware group collaborating with the Anonymous Sudan to conduct their operation against US and European banks. Yeah, that's it for hacktivist landscape. We'll go forward with the darknet landscape.
So till now we did cover cyber espionage and hacktivism. Now we must be wondering what is darknet community doing during this time with the onset of Russia-Ukraine war. Darknet, we saw such an interesting thing. Forum is known for its anonymity and not taking a stand because it is purely run on with a financial motive. Forums like Raid Forum, the infamous forum, which was previously seized by FBI, and back in 2022, openly took a stance to support Ukraine. Here's a screenshot to show how the admin of the forum posted a message on with the title Raid Forum Sanctions on Russia. The offshoot of Raid Forum, RF2, also took a similar stance, mentioning that we will be supporting Ukraine and members of the forum will actively be conducting DDoS attacks against Russia. Another infamous forum, Dumb Forum, also took a very strong stance to support Ukraine. Now, it was not as if all the forums were only supporting Ukraine and none of them were supporting Russia. A very famous forum, Russian forum, XSS, took a very neutral stance stating that our forum members hail from across the world and we will not be engaging in any political or geopolitical matter, and this forum will remain neutral for the forum members. So this is one example of it. These are just the few notable events activities that we saw on popular forums. One where Dumb Forum who popularly supported Ukraine during the conflict, asked for the ransom in exchange for the data. Uh, from our human intelligence, from our online engagements, it was revealed that not all cyber criminals decided to stand with either of the states. Either they also took a very neutral stand. The online engagement revealed that most of the funding, most of the money that they get while selling the data or advertising the data on the forum will be sent to the Ukrainian army. So Darknet forum were divided into two parts. While they were doing their cyber criminal activities of getting illegal money out of selling data, dumping data, and the money they were utilizing it to fund their choice of support. Moving to ransomware.
Like we have earlier mentioned that hacktivist group and espionage group specifically stands either the Ukraine or either for the Russia. Same goes with the ransomware activities. Like for the ransomware, we have seen that earlier ransomware groups are conducting their operation for the financial and doing the encryption attacks for the financial gain and demanding a ransom. But here in case of there are major ransomware groups who specifically stands for the Russia or Ukraine. On the screen you can see the pro-Ukrainian ransomware where the anti-ransomware, RU ransomware Viper, which specifically conduct the operation against the Russian entities and specifically wipe their data out, encrypt the system via the ransomware and malware. But the notable thing here is this anti-war ransomware is not demanding any ransom. They demand for the peace of war. They are demanding the stop of war and likewise. Same goes with the Russian side. There are some pro-Russian groups who specifically supports towards Russia and targeting Ukrainian entities. There are some major names like Ransombogs, Stornomus ransomware, Conti ransomware, which conduct their operation and encrypt the Ukrainian system for more disruption. Here the notable part is for the Conti. We know the Conti is a very big name in the ransomware era, right? But during the warfare, the Conti specifically shown their supports towards Russia and mentioned that any activities or anything harm to Russia, we will target them. But after this announcement, for the 4 days later, the specific Twitter account goes by the name Conti Leaks, leak all the confidential information, including the personal chat, the encryption module of the Conti ransomware on the Telegram for free, which lead later to the arrest of Conti members by the FBI, and the ransomware operation is being stopped from the Conti ransomware. The another fact here is the Lockbit ransomware, which also a very infamous gang in the ransomware era, right? But the Lockbit ransomware specifically take a neutral stand because from the portal they have mentioned, on the portal they specifically have mentioned that we are not taking any stands. And this is, for us, this is business. We are not going to in political activities and all, because the members of the Lockbit all operate from everywhere in the world. We have our team operating from Ukraine, operating from Russia, and the worldwide. So we are taking a neutral stand, and we are not anything related to the Russia-Ukraine warfare. That's it for the Russia. That's it for the Russia-Ukraine and the ransomware activities.
As we covered all the landscapes, including espionage, hacktivism, ransomware, and darknet, we should be asking ourselves, where do we stand now? In terms of cyber espionage, we believe there are three notable things that the three notable things that we can conclude from Russia-Ukraine war. The first one being, any global conflict cannot be restricted to the physical regions of the active participants, that is Russia and Ukraine. Maybe on the physical side of it, yes, but in the cyber front, no. Many countries, especially certain countries in Asia and Africa, who decided not to side with either of the parties or decided to take a very neutral stand, were also the victim of certain attacks. Second, espionage groups are now using custom malware, not that they were not using it earlier, but now they have moved, not, I would move is a wrong word, but they have shifted their focus from just information theft to wiper attacks. Hermetic wiper, Whispergate, such wiper attacks have come into picture. To disrupt the ordinary functioning, to disrupt the critical infrastructure altogether is their main focus now. The the third notable thing that we observed was countries will now take a very cautious role in deciding their defense strategy. Now, cyber tools, cyber attacks play a very important role in geopolitical conflicts. So while deciding their defense strategies and policies, cyber warfare or cyber front will be taken into strong consideration. Moving to hacktivism.
Same for the hacktivism, as I mentioned earlier, the groups now collaborating with each other for the more disruptive attacks and all. The notable thing here is they are providing various kind of education and course on the Telegram channel for encouraging more people to join the specific operation and conducting the various operation against their entities. Right. And the third one, using the or leveraging the social media. These groups are very tense to announce their attacks on the Telegram, either Twitter, which encourage other hacktivist groups and participate in the warfare and attacking various entities. The another thing here is that the hacktivism now it's not limited to the Russia or Ukraine. The group now shifting focus to the various NATO members, various US region as well. As we can see in the screenshot that before the Russia-Ukraine warfare, there are some attacks happening. But the thing is, after the Russia-Ukraine warfare, the graph is exponentially growth. The activist attacks are very, very generic. The groups have the infrastructure to conduct the operation and inviting more and more activist group by providing the DDoS services to join their operation and attacking globally.
With Darknet, we suspect that it will continue to be a forum to exchange information, to conduct the illegal activities, to conduct the cyber criminal activities. Groups will, time and again, will pledge its allegiance to a certain country in the times of global conflict. But Darknet will continue to be a platform to share information, to dump the data, or countries will cyber criminals will continue to leverage a global conflict to their own benefits. For example, many groups started scamming or started sending out phishing links to other countries or to other members of the society to just get the money out of it by luring it as the financial aid, or they need aid to run their operations.
And last, for the ransomware, that we have seen that ransomware is not now limited to the financial gain. And they are even more disruptive and collaborating with hacktivist groups to participate in their attacks. So the main here, to conclude, the main agenda here is that either it's espionage group, either it's hacktivist group, or the ransomware group. Organization have to apply the mitigation strategies to defend this kind of DDoS attacks and ransomware attacks, right? So that's it for us. From if there anyone wants to ask any questions, we are open for question answers. Thank you so much. If you have any further queries or question, we can discuss after the talk as well. Thank you so much.